The Substance is 2024's newest body horror movie, and this week I'm at TIFF, I got to check it out, and even though I'm not a big body horror genre fan, I really like this movie. For starters, it just has a really interesting premise. The Substance follows Elizabeth Sparkle, who's a washed-up actress who uses the substance to transform herself into a younger, better version of herself at the cost of herself. That might not make that much sense, but I don't want to get into story spoilers because honestly, I didn't even know that much going in, and this movie just works so well. I have a couple of gripes with the body horror genre as a whole, which I'll get into more in this video, but I want to start off with the biggest pro of this film, and that is Margaret Quailey. She is on some freak shit, man, and I absolutely love it. She is one of my favorite young actresses in Hollywood right now, and this is another hit on her filmography. I first saw her in The Nice Guys, and she continues to blow me away. She has Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sanctuary, Poor Things, Drive Away Dolls, Kinds of Kindness, and now The Substance. Her and Demi Moore really elevate this movie. Not to say that this movie is bad by any means. It did win Best Screenplay at the Cannes Film Festival, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the screenplay is great, but it's also super on the nose thematically, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, because I feel like Margaret Quailey and Demi Moore just absolutely act the shit out of this script. As of right now, this is my favorite performance from Margaret Quailey in her entire career, and that's saying a lot because I feel like even though she hasn't been in the biggest of projects, she has some amazing performances on her resume already. Speaking more on the screenplay though, the first two acts absolutely fly by. The pacing is absolutely amazing, but going into that third act, I thought this movie was going to end at least 2 to 3 different times, and that's not really a good thing. Now for context, I did see this at a Midnight Madness screening here at TIFF, which means the movie started after 11:59 p.m. I didn't get out of this movie until like 2:30, 2:45 in the morning, and I felt absolutely out of it. I could barely talk, barely form full sentences. I was so tired, and maybe that's why the final act dragged for me. This one definitely warrants a rewatch, but again, the first two acts are paced so well, and I was really excited for the movie to just end at a certain point, but then it keeps on going, and the thematic elements, yeah, there's enough of it, but there's not enough of it to keep dragging the film out, and I think that's where the thematic value of it also goes down, because it drags out the story for so long that now that you've expanded your runtime, I kind of want a little bit more thematic depth rather than you just retracing your steps of everything you did in the first and second act of this film. I also think this movie is doing way too much in its third act. That's my biggest problem with body horror in general. I feel like a lot of times they try to take that leap in the final act and it feels completely disconnected from the entirety of the movie. I think that is there to an extent, but also I loved the characters so much that I didn't mind that there was a crazy evolution of physical or thematic stuff going on in the final moments of the film. A lot of it does just end up being shock horror, but I don't know if it was just because it was 2 in the morning or what was happening in my brain, but I had fun with it. The practical effects are also amazing, and I think the use of practical versus CGI works really well here. And on a technical level, this movie looks great, yeah, of course, but the score is truly what stands out to me. In the final act, it becomes like regular, like brr, brr, Hans Zimmer-ass score, but in the first 2 acts, it's like this really like weird techno, not like challenges techno, but like it hurts your ears techno, and in the coolest way possible. And I really like that it's super unique because it's nothing that I've ever heard before. It's basically like the score is just sound effects that a DJ would use, and it's the coolest thing ever. There's some ways that they shoot moving sequences that I'm not the biggest fan of, but really that's not that big of a deal because at the end of the day, The Substance just works. Everything about the body horror works for me. The performances work for me. I'm not a big fan of this genre, and this movie overall just absolutely hit. Overall, I'm going to give The Substance an 8 out of 10. I'm super excited to rewatch this one. If you've seen it or want to check it out, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And over 98% of you guys who watch the videos aren't yet subscribed. So if you did enjoy this review and don't want to miss out on more, hit that button. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.